Hey folks, Mark here, and Jimmy. I don't know if you can see Jimmy because the lights are down low and chill, but there he is. There's Jimmy. Just make him out. We're looking at the RV-7, and I just learned some really cool stuff about the RV-7, Eflite RV-7 sport plane. Really interesting. Now, as I've been going through the learning curve of flying this plane, as opposed to bush planes, the Sport Cub S2 and the Eflite Mall M7. That's what I've been flying now and also in years previous. Yep. So, because I'm on my second Carbon Cub, and I'm on my second Mall. I had the S Plus Carbon Cub, and now the S2, and then I had the Mall when it was first released a few years back, and then I just recently got another one. So I'm used to those bush planes. So let me show you this super profound difference I discovered. For one thing, that makes this a sport plane, right? Differing from the bush planes that I have. I found something really profound that shows that this is not a bush plane because it's quite different. And what that difference is we're gonna come back here and look up into my RC airplane loft. All right, now let's see. If you look at the wing, let me get up there closer. Here we go. Now, if you look at the wing, you see the aileron. Where's my finger? There you go. Aileron begins right there, and only goes to there, and then the rest of that is flap. Okay, so look at how wide the flap is, or long, if you will, compared to the aileron. Can you see that difference? The aileron is very, very small. The flap takes up about 70% of the wing, trailing edge, 70%, and the aileron is only about 30%. Okay, so remember that ratio, approximately 70% aileron control surface area to 30%. Can I start again? Approximately 70% flap control surface area as opposed to 30% aileron. Okay, so let's come down here and look at the RV-7 sport plane. This is interesting to me, really interesting. Okay, remember that 70% on the Mall. The flaps take up 70% of the control surface area on the wing trailing edge, and the aileron only 30%. Now look at this. We're going to look at it from back here because it's easier to see. Look at this here now. Look at this. See, the aileron begins. Where's my? Let's see if we can. There we go. So the aileron begins right here, and it goes over to here, and then the flap you can see. Now the flap and the aileron are almost the same size. On this wing, the flap is taking up about 55% of the wing, and the aileron about 45% of the wing, you see? So it's nearly half and half. The aileron on the Mall only takes up 30% of the wing, trailing edge surface area, control surface area, 30% for the Mall, about 45% on this plane. Almost half of the control surface area here on this wing, almost half of it is the aileron. While on the Mall, only about a third of it is the aileron. So the aileron is way bigger on this airplane. What does that mean? Well, it's just going to do things like aileron rolls much better than a bush plane. Not surprisingly, and that's why she's a sport plane for one thing. So that just, see, I learned something. On a sport plane, you've got much more aileron, much for rolls and whatnot. So that's the main thing that I noticed. The other control surfaces, to me, are normal. Elevator size, rudder size, those don't seem to me to be any different. But that aileron to flap ratio, the size of the aileron on your wings on this plane, big difference. So that's why I have found it, after flying just the bush planes, I found the ailerons to be a little touchy. for me at this initial stage with this model. So in my radio, in my DX6, in my NX6, which is over there, what I did is in low rates, I'm flying this airplane in low rates strictly right now, but I have low rates programmed in here to be quite tailored to me. So in low rates for this airplane, I have less than normal low rates for the ailerons because they're so much bigger, and I'm not used to that. So I've toned that down while I'm learning to fly this plane. By the same token, because I've got bush tires on here, and I fly off of long, thick grass, I want a lot more elevator throw than I would normally get in low rates. So actually, when I'm flying in low rates with this plane, I'm getting high rates elevator throw. See? So I can take off faster and get more up elevator when I come into land to get up elevator and get into a stall, STALL, a situation where you come in and land and then get your flare, right? So low rates for the ailerons, extra low rates for the ailerons, normal low rates for the rudder, high rates for the elevator to help with rapid takeoff and nice slow landings without rollovers. So that's how I've tailor-made this here RV-7 to fly with the bush tires on there and so on and so forth. So I just thought I'd share that because I'm a real noob. This is my first sport plane ever, and I didn't really know what it meant and what the differences were, but that right there, I just learned and enjoyed learning it just by looking at the plane. That's why you get all super much extra aileron. So now I've toned that down, like I said, and while I'm learning, and then once I really get used to the plane, toned down, well, I can go ahead and go into my settings and go with the full normal throws when I start to try to do aerobatics. So there you go. So I learned a lot. A lot more aileron control surface. So when you're learning with this plane and you're just wanting to get her as trimmed out right, because I'm still doing that, still getting her tweaked. When you're wanting to do that, just go ahead and go for me, extra light on the aileron throw in low rates initially, right, and then normal rudder, extra elevator for the takeoffs and landings, and that's about it. Oh, I also, for extra rapid takeoffs, I went more throw on my takeoff flaps than before. And for extra slow landings, I want extra additional throw on my full flaps. So these are all the things that I've done. I've also moved my battery back a tad bit because I think it was a tad nose heavy before, just a tad, and a tad can make a difference. Yeah, so these are all the things that I've done. And so I'm going to fly out tomorrow morning or soon, and I think we're going to start to be able to see some much more rapid takeoffs. And I think I'm going to start getting the good landings. I've already had 2 landings with this, with the bush tires, where I did not nose over, but I didn't get either one on camera, naturally. But I did. I had 2 just great landings with this, by keeping the high elevator, full up elevator, and keeping a fair amount of throttle. And basically, I didn't sort of glide in and then land and roll and coast. I basically flew the plane to the ground and did a touch and go, but I didn't go. I did a touch and rolling and kept the throttle up and the elevator up, and then just eased the throttle off and kept the elevator up and was able to roll to a stop on 2 occasions without nosing over. So I think this airplane, the way I've set it up now, will be much easier to do that now than before. And I learned a bunch of cool stuff. All right, thanks for watching. See you soon. Signing off at 5.